Hello students, welcome to my channel Hans Commerce Tutorial for the lectures on commerce, accounts, finance and management. My suggestion to you, before watching the video, please go to the description below my video. You'll find a link there. Take a printout of the problems given in the link and keep it ready before watching the video so that you can be able to understand the problem, the solution and the explanation to get the maximum benefit from the lectures. Thank you. So we have completed the problems on statement of affairs. So 8 problems we have done on calculating, on making the statement of affairs. That is the first statement that will be prepared at the time of liquidation. Statement of affairs will be prepared by the company, by the directors, by secretary, by chief officer of the company and submitted to the liquidator. On the basis of statement of affairs only, the liquidator will start his proceedings, realizing the assets, making the payment to creditors. All these things will be done on the basis of statement of affairs. Now we are going to make the liquidator's final statement of account. After completing his job, he will make the liquidator's final statement of account. In this liquidator's final statement of account, he has to show how much assets he has realized and how he has disbursed the payments, in what order he has made the payment. So again, Companies Act has given the procedure in which order he has to make the payment. It is not up to the will of the liquidator. Again, he is bound by the rules, provisions given by the Companies Act. So now we are going to solve the problem on liquidator's final statement of account. Liquidator's final statement of account is just like receipts and payments account or cash book. On one side, left hand side, debit side will take all receipts of cash, and right hand side, credit side, we take all the payments of cash. The receipts of cash are assets realized by him and also the surplus received from fully secured creditors. That will be taken on the receipt side. Payment side, the order is first liquidator's remuneration will take, then liquidation expenses will take, then amount paid to debenture holders, then preferential creditors, after preferential creditors, unsecured creditors. Then if any amount is left after making payment to unsecured creditors, then the payment will be made to preferential capital and equity share capital. Like that in that order. Main calculations here is regarding the liquidator's remuneration. In most of the problems, it will be given liquidator will be paid remuneration at the rate of so and so % on assets realized, so and so % on amount paid to unsecured creditors. In short problems, we have done so many problems regarding the calculation of liquidator's remuneration. So viewers, if you have not watched my previous video, short answer questions, please go back to that video. Watch the problems on how to calculate the liquidator's remuneration. Then only you can be able to properly understand the long problems. Come on, we'll start the 9th problem. See the 9th problem. Hope everybody have got the printout of the problems from the link I have provided. If you have not, please arrange for that immediately. Get the printout of the problems given in the link in the description so that you can understand better. Now we'll start the 9th problem. Lavanya Limited went into liquidation with the following liabilities: secured creditors 40,000, securities realized 50,000. So actually creditors are 40,000, but we have provided the security for 50,000. So 10,000 rupees surplus the liquidator is going to get back from the creditors. Creditors will sell away the security for 50,000. They will keep 40,000 their amount and 10,000 will be returned back to the liquidator. That is a surplus. Next one, preferential creditors 1200 rupees. Unsecured creditors 61,000. Liquidation expense 500. The liquidator is entitled to a commission of 3% on amount realized, including the securities in the hands of secured creditors. Now this is the point. Liquidator is to be paid remuneration at the rate of 3% on assets realized, including the asset in the hands of fully secured creditor. In the first line we have seen the fully secured creditor were given security for 50,000. 50,000 rupees का security fully secured creditor को दिए. और वो 50,000 रुपीज को भी इंक्लूड करना फॉर कैलकुलेटिंग लिक्विडेटर्स रेम्यूनरेशन. तो and 1% on amount distributed to unsecured creditors. Apart from 3% on assets realized, 1% on amount paid to unsecured creditor. For this, we have to see whether the company is solvent or insolvent. If the company is solvent, then take amount of unsecured creditor into rate by 100. If the company is solvent. If the company is insolvent, amount available into rate divided by 100 plus rate. Again, I repeat. Amount available into rate divided by 100 plus rate. Now, the various assets in excluding the security in the hands of secured creditor realized 52,000 rupees. All the assets he has sold, the liquidator has sold all the assets and realized 52,000 rupees, excluding the value of the security which is in the hands of fully secured creditor. Fully secured creditor के hands में 50,000 rupees का security है, उसको छोड़कर other assets he sold and realized 52,000. Prepare liquidator's statement of account showing the payment made to unsecured creditor. How much is the payment made to unsecured creditor? We have to show it in the liquidator's final statement of account. Now see carefully, this is the first problem. Liquidator's final statement of account, receipts, payments. Receipt side to assets realized 52,000. The liquidator has sold all assets 52,000. To surplus from fully secured creditor. The fully secured creditor were having security of 50,000 and their amount due is 40,000. So 10,000 rupees are recovered from fully secured creditor. The total of receipts comes to 62,000. Now how he has to make the payment? By liquidator's remuneration. The first payment we will take liquidator's remuneration. Working note, just you write on working note and keep it as it is, because in working note we have to find out how much is the total amount of liquidator's remuneration. Liquidation expenses given in the problem 500, preferential creditors given in the problem 1200. Now unsecured creditors, take balancing figure, keep it blank. After calculating liquidator's remuneration, then only we can calculate how much is the amount paid to unsecured creditor, right? Now, in working note, liquidator's remuneration first we calculate in working note number 1. First, 3% on assets realized, including the security in the hands of fully secured creditor. That wording is given in the problem. That remuneration should be paid on assets realized, including the asset in the hands of fully secured creditor. तो 50,000 रुपीस के सिक्योरिटी है fully secured के पास, और इन्हें जो बेचा 52,000. तो 52,000 plus 50,000, 1,02,000, 1,02,000 into 3%, 3,060. This is the 3% on assets realized. Now 1% on preferential creditors. This point already I discussed in the short problems. When it is saying 1% on amount paid to unsecured creditor, preferential creditors will also be treated as unsecured. The only thing is preferential creditor will have a right to get the payment before making any payment to unsecured creditor. But preferential creditors are also unsecured. So we should calculate 1% on preferential creditors also. So preferential creditors, how much is the amount? 1200. So 1% of 1200 will comes to 12. So this 3060 is 3% on assets realized and 1% on preferential creditors 12 rupees. Now 1% on payment to unsecured creditor. Still 1% on payment to unsecured creditor. But we don't know whether the company is solvent or insolvent. That we have to find out in working note number 2. So here you write on working note number 2. We have to find out here. Then we'll get the total liquidator's remuneration. After getting this amount, then only we can get the total remuneration. तो जब तक कि हमको वन अनसेक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर को कितना पेमेंट कर रहे हैं वो नहीं मालूम, तब तक we can't say how much is the liquidator's remuneration on payment to unsecured creditor. Now second working note, total amount available is 62,000. Total amount available minus payment. Liquidator's remuneration, अभी तक liquidator को जो remuneration pay करना है वो 3060 and 12. 3060 plus 12, 3072. Liquidation expenses 500 rupees. Preferential creditors 1200 rupees. The total payment till up to this point is 4,772. 4,772 is the total payment. Amount receipt is 62,000. 62,000 minus 4,772, you will get 57,228. This is the net amount available. अब ये नेट अमाउंट अवेलेबल में से लिक्विडेटर का रेम्यूनरेशन भी आना है एंड ऑल्सो अनसेक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर को पेमेंट भी करना है, दोनों को पेमेंट करना है 57. And how much is the net amount due to unsecured creditor? Amount due to unsecured creditor is 61,000 given in the problem. Unsecured creditor को पेमेंट करना है 61,000. यहाँ पर amount available 57,228. Amount is not sufficient. The funds are not sufficient to make full return to unsecured creditor. So the company is said to be insolvent. Therefore, the company is insolvent. Liquidator's remuneration is calculated as follows. Liquidator remuneration, net amount available into rate divided by 100 plus rate. So net amount available 57,228 into 1 divided by 101. Rate divided by 100 plus rate. It comes to 567. So 567 is the remuneration paid on the payment of unsecured creditor. So this 567 I am taking here. Now we got it 567. Now you add up 3060 plus 12 plus 567. If you add up 3, you will get 3639. 3639 is the total liquidator's remuneration, and this will be taken here. 3639. So till that time, we should not take the amount. Keep it blank and do all working notes, find out how much is the liquidator's remuneration, then you take. Now, from the 62,000, subtract 1, 2, 3, these 3 amount, the balancing figure you will get unsecured creditor. So how much is the amount paid? 56,661. 62,000 minus 3639 minus 500 minus 1200. The balancing figure is 56,661. So actual amount to be paid according to the problem is 61,000. But the company does not have sufficient funds. They have to sacrifice. So unsecured creditor, they will get only 56,661. 56,661. That's it. This is the complete problem on liquidator's final statement of account. Now see the next problem, 10th one. Overconfident company limited went into liquidation. Its assets realized 7 lakh rupees excluding amount realized by sale of securities held by secured creditors. The liquidator has sold all the assets and realized 7 lakh rupees and excluding the value of security in the hands of fully secured creditor. The following was the position: share capital 10,000 shares of 10 each, debentures having a floating charge on the assets 5 lakh, liquidation expenses 10,000, preferential creditors 12,000, unsecured creditors 3 lakh, liquidators remuneration is 15,000, secured creditors 80,000, securities realized 90,000. Securities realized 90,000, whereas amount due to creditors are 80,000. So 10,000 rupees are the surplus realized from fully secured creditor. Prepare liquidator's final statement of account. This problem is very simple because liquidator's remuneration is given in the problem itself. There is no need to calculate. Previous problem, liquidator's remuneration was not given, so we have calculated in working notes. But in this problem, liquidator's remuneration is directly given. So only the thing is we have to keep the order. Now, see here. Overconfident company limited liquidator's final statement of account. Receipts. To assets realized 7 lakh rupees. Assets realized 7 lakh. To surplus for fully secured creditor 90,000 minus 80,000, 10,000. So total receipts are 7 lakh 10,000. Now we'll make the payment one by one. First of all, liquidator's remuneration. Liquidator remuneration is given in the problem 15,000. Directly 15,000 we have taken. Liquidation expenses 10,000 given in the problem. Then debenture holders to be paid 5 lakh. Preferential creditors to be paid 12,000. That's all. All the amounts payable to outside parties are given except one, that is unsecured creditor. Now we'll see how much is the total amount due to unsecured creditors given in the problem. Unsecured creditors are 3 lakh rupees. But the company does not have 3 lakh rupees. Now find out the balancing figure. Subtract 7 lakh 10,000 minus all the 4 amounts on the credit side. Subtract 4 amounts, you will get the balancing figure. The balancing figure is 14,000, 1,73,000. The balancing figure you will get 1,73,000. The actual amount due was 3 lakh rupees, but the company does not have 3 lakh rupees. The company is having only 1,73,000. This will be paid to unsecured creditor. That's it. No working notes are required for problem number 10. It's very simple problem. Now 11th problem, you see carefully. The following particulars relate to Daydreaming Company Limited, which has gone into voluntary liquidation. You are required to prepare the liquidator's final statement of account, allowing for his remuneration 2% on amount realized, 2% on assets realized, and 2% on the amount distributed among unsecured creditor other than preferential creditor. Specifically given, no remuneration will be paid to on amount paid to preferential creditor. जो preferential creditors को पे कर रहे हैं उसके ऊपर remuneration नहीं calculate करना specifically given. If it is not given, we would have calculated remuneration even on the payment made to preferential creditor because they are also unsecured. But in the problem specifically given not to calculate, so we are not going to calculate remuneration on amount paid to preferential creditors. Preferential creditors are 8,000, unsecured creditor 25,000, debentures having floating charge 15,000, liquidation expenses 1,500, assets realized are 40,000. It's very simple. Now, Daydreaming Company Limited liquidator's final statement of account, assets realized are 40,000. Now, by liquidator's remuneration, we are going to calculate in working note. We have to see whether the company is solvent or insolvent. Accordingly, we have to find out liquidator's remuneration. Liquidation expense 1,500 given, debenture holders 15,000 we have taken, preferential creditors 8,000 we have taken. Lastly, we have to pay for unsecured creditor. We will see in working notes. Working notes. First working note, liquidator's remuneration. 2% on assets realized. It is given in the problem. Assets realized are 40,000. So 40,000 into 2%, you will get 800 rupees. 800 rupees on assets realized. Now 2% on amount paid to unsecured creditor. We have not taken on preferential creditor because it is not given in the problem. Now assets realized are 40,000. Assets realized are 40,000. From this we deduct all the payments till now. Till up to this point, how much are the payment? Liquidator's remuneration 800 rupees is payable and 1,500 rupees are payable as liquidation expenses. Debenture holders to be paid 15,000. Preferential creditors to be paid 8,000. The total of payments till up to this point is 25,300. So out of 40,000, 25,300 are the total payment up to this point. Then amount available, remaining amount available is 14,700. 14,700 is the net amount available, whereas amount due to unsecured creditors are 25,000. The company is insolvent. The company is not in a position to make full payment to unsecured creditors. Then we have to apply the formula. Liquidator remuneration is equal to net amount available into rate divided by 100 plus rate. The net amount available is 14,700 into 2 divided by 102. Rate by 100 plus rate. 2 divided by 102. It comes to 288. So 288 is the remuneration on amount paid to unsecured creditor. Now we take this 288 here. 288. So here it will be 881088. 1088 is the total remuneration of liquidator. So now liquidator's remuneration here. Working note 1088. 1088 is the liquidator's remuneration. Now you subtract from this 40,000. From this 40,000, subtract all the 4 amounts. Subtract all the 4 amounts, you will get the amount payable to unsecured creditors. अब जो भी पैसा बचा हुआ है वो unsecured creditor को दे देंगे. तो उतना पूरा नहीं मिलेगा. Actually amount due is 25,000. They will not get 25,000. How much is the balancing figure? You will get 14,412. 14,412 is the balance remaining, and that will be paid to unsecured creditors, balancing figure. That's it. So three problems, 9th, 10th and 11th problem. These three problems we have done on preparing the liquidator's final statement of account. Now we'll start problem number 12. See the 12th problem. The following particulars relate to a limited company which has gone into liquidation. You are required to prepare liquidator's final statement of account allowing his remuneration 2% on amount realized and 2% on amount distributed among unsecured creditors. So in working note we have to calculate liquidator's remuneration 2% on amount realized and 2% on amount paid to unsecured creditors. Unsecured creditors are 2,24,000. So first of all we have to see whether the company is solvent or insolvent. Then preferential creditors are given. Debentures 75,000, assets realized, cash 20,000, land and building 1,30,000, plant and machinery 1,10,500, furniture 7,500. These are the assets realized. Cost of winding up. The cost of winding up means liquidation expenses. A call of rupees 2 per share on partly paid 10,000 equity share was made and duly paid except in case of one shareholder owing 500 shares. There was calls in arrear of on 10,000 equity shares. Each share 2 rupees are due. So all the shareholders have paid except one shareholder who was holding 500 shares. So out of 10,000 shares, 9,500 shares we got the calls in arrear. So 9,500 into 2 rupees, 19,000 rupees we got it as calls in arrear. The liquidator has received the final calls in arrear on 9,500 shares at rupees 2 per share. This is a problem. Now see it carefully. Liquidator's final statement of account. Assets realized. In the problem it is given cash, land and building, plant and machinery, furniture, unpaid call account. Unpaid call account is nothing but calls in arrear. So 9,500 shares, 2 rupees, 19,000. One shareholder has not paid. Liquidator's remuneration, we have to find it in working note. So you should not take this amount. After calculating in working notes, then only we should take this amount. Till then, just you write on by liquidator remuneration, write working note and keep it blank. Then liquidation expenses given in the problem, 2,000. Debenture holder 75,000, preferential creditor 70,000. Lastly, unsecured creditor. We don't know whether we can be able to pay fully to unsecured creditor or not, solvent or insolvent. So keep it blank. So these two amounts you should not take. Remaining all the items you should write down. In working note we have to calculate liquidator's remuneration. Now see, liquidator's remuneration is 2% on assets realized. The assets he has sold and received the cash. On that 2% will be allowed. So how much he has assets realized? 20,000 rupees cash, 1,30,000 land and building, 1,10,500 plant and machinery, furniture 7,500. This unpaid call account should not be included because this is not the asset realized. This is the amount received from the shareholders. So this amount should not be considered for calculating liquidator's remuneration, right? So add up all these four amounts, you'll get 2,68,000 into 2%, you'll get 5,360. This is the remuneration on assets realized. Now 2% on amount paid to preferential creditors. Nothing is given. Only it is given that 2% should be paid on amount paid to unsecured creditor. And preferential creditors are unsecured only. So for calculating liquidator remuneration, we should include remuneration on preferential creditors also. 2% on 70,000. Amount paid to preferential creditors 70,000. So 70,000, 2%, 1,400. Now 2% on amount paid to unsecured creditor. This we have to find out in working note number 2. Seeing that the company is solvent or insolvent. तो यहाँ पर working note number 2 डालकर छोड़ देंगे. You should not take this amount. This amount you will get only after doing second working note. So you have to keep it blank. Then take the total liquidator's remuneration, keep it blank. Only after knowing this amount we can find the total. Now working note number 2. Total receipts are 2,87,000. Receipt side minus payment. Liquidator's remuneration 5,360 plus 1,400. It comes to 6,760. Liquidation expense 2,000. Debenture holders 75,000. Preferential creditors 70,000. So up to this point the total payment are 1,53,000. 760. The total receipts are 2,87,000. Payments are 153,760. Net amount available is 1,33,240. How much amount is due to unsecured creditors? 2,24,000 given in the problem. Unsecured creditors को pay करना है 2,24,000, but the company does not have this much of amount. So the company is insolvent. The company is not in a position to make full payment to unsecured creditor. Company insolvent. When company is insolvent, liquidator remuneration is equal to amount available into rate divided by 100 plus rate. Amount available 1,33,240. Rate 2%. Divided by 100 plus rate, 100 plus 2, 102. So 2,216. This 2,216 is the 2% on amount paid to unsecured creditors. This 2613, you take it here. After getting here 2613, take this here. Now find out the total of these three amounts, you will get 9373. This is the total remuneration of liquidator. Now take this 9373 here. After taking this, you subtract 2,87,000 minus all these four amounts, you subtract. The balancing figure is 1,30,627. This is the balancing figure. This is the amount paid to unsecured creditors. That's it. This is problem number 12. Now see the problem number 13. The following information relates to Goodbye Company Limited, which has gone into voluntary liquidation. You are required to prepare liquidator's final statement of account. Liquidator is entitled to 2% commission on amount realized by him. So only 2% commission on amount realized by him, not on amount paid to unsecured creditors. Previous problem में दोनों भी calculate करें. It was given in the problem. 2% was paid on amount realized, 2% on amount paid to unsecured creditor. But in this problem, only on amount realized. 2%. Now, share capital 1 lakh, 10,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each, 1 lakh. Unsecured creditors 25,000. Creditors secured by mortgage on building. Creditors secured by mortgage on building 20,000. Preferential creditors 2,000. Then 5% debentures having a floating charge 40,000. The liquidator realized the assets as follows. Building. Actually, building was given as security. That is, creditors secured by mortgage on building. There is a mortgage on building, but the building was sold by liquidator. Liquidator is selling the building, and out of the 35,000, he is paying 20,000 rupees to the creditor. So normally what will happen? The fully secured creditor will sell the security by themselves. But in this problem it is given the liquidator is selling the building, and from that 35,000 he is paying 20,000 rupees to the creditor. Then furniture 4,000, plant and machinery 19,000, investment 12,000. The cost of winding up amounted to 100 rupees. Cost of winding up means liquidation expenses. That's all. So now see, Goodbye Company Limited liquidator's final statement of account. Assets realized. Building 35,000, amount paid to creditor 20,000. This is the first problem where the security which was given to a creditor was sold by liquidator himself. And from the 35,000 he is paying 20,000 rupees to the creditor, the remaining 15,000 he is taking into account. Plant and machinery 19,000, furniture 4,000, investment 12,000. Total amount of receipts are 50,000. From 50,000 we have to make the payment. First of all, liquidator's remuneration in working note. First you write down by liquidator remuneration in bracket working note, keep it blank. Should not take this 1400. This will get only after making calculations in working note. The liquidation expenses 1,000 given. Debenture holders 40,000. Preferential creditors 2,000. Unsecured creditors. Now we have to see. One more point. There is no commission on payment made to unsecured creditor. There is no commission. It is given. So liquidator remuneration is equal to 2% on amount realized by him. 2% on amount realized by him. So 2% of how much amount he has realized? Building he sold for 35,000. Plant and machinery 19,000. Furniture 4,000. Investment 12,000. So these four amounts you add up, it will come to 70,000. So 2% of 70,000 is 1,400. So 1,400 rupees is the liquidator's remuneration. This will be taken here. Right? No commission on amount paid to unsecured creditor in this problem. Previous problem it was there. Here it is not there. So After taking 1400, you subtract from 50,000 minus 1400 minus 1000 minus 40,000 minus 2000. So remaining balance 5600. This 5600 will be paid to unsecured creditor. Balancing figure. Balancing figure. That's it. This is problem number 13th. Now see the 14th problem. A company limited went into voluntary liquidation on 31st March 2005. On the basis of the following, prepare liquidator's final statement of account. Share capital 10,000, equity shares of rupees 10 each, fully paid 1 lakh. 7% debentures having a floating charge on all the assets 1 lakh. Interest outstanding on debenture for 1 year 7,000. So this should also be paid. Preferential creditors 10,000, unsecured creditor 50,000, cost of liquidation is 8,000, liquidator's remuneration is 5,000. Assets realized is 2 lakh. Now first time we are coming across where the assets realized are 2 lakh rupees, whereas all other amounts are lesser amount. So the company is solvent. The company can be able to make full payment to unsecured creditors also. Unsecured creditor. Unsecured creditor only 50,000 are there. So after making the payment to unsecured creditor, still the amount is left. That amount will go to shareholders. Previous problem में हमारे पास amount exhaust हो गया. कहां पर exhaust हो गया? Unsecured creditor पर ही खत्म हो गया. लेकिन अब जो प्रॉब्लम करने जा रहे हैं, अनसेक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर को पेमेंट करने के बाद भी पैसा बचेगा, तो फिर किसको देंगे? वो शेयर होल्डर्स को जाएगा. तो रिमेनिंग बैलेंस विल गो टू शेयर, बिकॉज अमाउंट इज क्लियर. एसेट्स रियलाइज 2 lakh, out of which 1 lakh rupees will go to debenture holders, 7,000 interest on debenture, 1 lakh 7,000. Only preferential creditor are 10,000, unsecured creditor are 50,000, liquidation expense 8,000, liquidator remuneration is given in the problem. No need to make calculation in working note. Directly given liquidator's remuneration 5,000, right? So now see the solution. Liquidator's final statement of account, assets realized are 2 lakh given in the problem. Directly we have taken. Now by liquidator's remuneration 5,000, no need of calculations, it is given specifically in the problem. So liquidation expense 8,000 given. Debenture holders are 1 lakh, add interest outstanding 7,000. So totally 1,07,000 rupees are to be paid to debenture holders, including interest. Then preferential creditors are 10,000, unsecured creditors are 50,000, fully paid. Now after fully paying unsecured creditor, no outside party is left. No outside parties are left. To all the parties, liquidator has made the payment. Now remaining balance, the remaining balance will go to shareholders. Only one type of shareholder are given in the problem, equity shareholders. So out of 2 lakh, subtract minus 5,000, minus 8,000, minus 1 lakh 7,000, minus 10,000, minus 50,000. So remaining balancing figure 20,000. This 20,000 should be paid to equity shareholders by equity shareholders. So 20,000 rupees they are getting. How many shares are there in the problem given? Balance sheet liability side is given. There are 10,000 shares. So on 10,000 shares, the company is paying 20,000 rupees. So per share, how much they will get? 20,000 rupees divided by 10,000 shares. 20,000 rupees divided by 10,000 shares. Each share 2 rupees. So 2 rupees per share every shareholder will get. That's all. So this is the problem number 14. Now 15th problem. See the problem number 15. A company went into liquidation on 31st March when the following balance sheet was prepared. Prepare liquidator's final accounts by taking his remuneration at 2.5% on the amount realized and 2% on the amount paid to unsecured creditors. So in working note we have to calculate 2.5% on amount realized and 2% on amount paid to unsecured creditors. Liquidator realized the following assets. Fixed assets 1,72,000 including 70,000 on freehold property. So freehold property was there. The realizable value of freehold property was 70,000. So including this 70,000, the total fixed assets realized 1,72,000. Current assets 1,95,000 and cash 5,000. These are the amount realized by the liquidator. On these amounts, we have to pay 2.5% liquidator remuneration. Liquidation expenses amounted to 2,000. Now when balance sheet is given, share capital rupees 10 each, 3,90,000. Preferential creditors 48,400. 48,400. Creditors are secured by a charge on freehold property. There are creditors who are having a charge on freehold property. 1,10,620. Actually, creditors are 1,10,620 and they are having the security of building freehold property. So what is the realizable value of freehold property? 70,000. So they are partly secured creditor. वो लोग को कंपनी पे करना है 1,10,620, लेकिन वो लोग के पास जो सिक्योरिटी है वो सिक्योरिटी 70,000 की सिक्योरिटी है. तो फ्री होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी बेचकर 70,000 रुपीज ये क्रेडिटर को पे कर देंगे. रिमेनिंग अमाउंट जो बचेगा 1,10,620 minus 70,000, तो 40,620. That 40,620 will become unsecured creditor. Will become unsecured creditor. Other unsecured creditor are 2,23,580. दूसरे unsecured creditor तो 2,23,580 है. और ये क्रेडिटर्स जिसके पास फ्री होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी है उसमें भी अनसिक्योर्ड है, क्योंकि टोटल क्रेडिटर 1,10,620 है, जबकि के पास सिक्योरिटी का वैल्यू जो है 70,000 है. तो दे विल सेल द प्रॉपर्टी फॉर 70,000. आउट ऑफ 1,10,620, 70,000 paid. Remaining 40,620 will be unsecured. Goodwill and patents, we don't require fixed assets including property, current assets, cash, P&L account. That's it. Now see, balance sheet value we won't take. We will take into account realizable value. What is the value realized by the liquidator? Liquidator final statement of account. Assets realized. Freehold property was sold for 70,000 and paid to secured creditor 70,000. जिसके पास ये सिक्योरिटी है फ्री होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी की उसको 70,000 पे कर दिए, तो कोई सरप्लस हो रहा नहीं है, अभी पे करना ही है. टोटली ड्यू 1,10,620 था, उसमें से 70,000 पे करे, बाकी का जो 40,620 है उसको अनसिक्योर्ड में लेंगे. नाउ अदर फिक्स्ड एसेट्स, फ्री होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी को छोड़कर तो 1,72,000 में से फ्री होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी के 70,000 निकाल दो, तो रिमेनिंग अदर एसेट्स रियलाइज्ड 1,02,000. Current assets are 1,95,000, cash is 5,000. So total amount realized is 3,02,000. Now payment, liquidator's remuneration. In bracket you write a working note. Don't take the amount. We'll calculate that in working notes and then we'll come back to liquidators. Final statement of account. Liquidation expense are given 2,000. Directly you take it. Debenture holders are not there. Preferential creditors are 48,400 given in the problem. Unsecured creditors, don't take the amount. After finding out liquidator's remuneration, then only we can get how much amount is paid finally to unsecured creditor. Now come to working note. Liquidator's remuneration, 2.5% on amount realized. How much amount he has realized? He sold all the property including freehold property. Including freehold property, 1,72,000. 1,72,000 में पूरे fixed asset बेच दिया including freehold property. Plus 1,95,000 current assets क्या आ गया, 5,000 cash आ गया, ये सारे assets का 2.5% it comes to 9,300. 2% on preferential creditors. Because it is given 2% on amount paid to unsecured creditor, the preferential creditor will also be treated as unsecured for calculating liquidator's remuneration. 2% on 48,400, 968. Now 2% on amount paid to unsecured creditor. Here we have to see whether the company is solvent or insolvent. That's why you should write on working note number 2 and don't take this amount. ये amount अभी नहीं आएगा. ये working note number 2 complete करने के बाद this amount you will get. After getting this amount, you will get the total liquidator's remuneration. Now working note number 2. Total amount received realized 3,02,000. अब ये 3,02,000 में से पेमेंट जो करे till up to this point, liquidator remuneration 9,300 plus 968, 10,268. Liquidation expenses 2,000, preferential creditors are 48,400. So total payment up to this point is 60,668. So out of 3,02,000, deduct 60,668, net amount available is 2,41,332. This is the net amount available. Now we find out how much is the amount due to unsecured creditor. The amount due to unsecured creditor given in the balance sheet is 2,23,580. In the balance sheet, amount due to unsecured creditor is given 2,23,000. Apart from that, The creditor secured by a floating charge, by a charge on freehold property. एक क्रेडिटर है जिसका चार्ज फ्री होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी पर है, वो क्रेडिटर एक्चुअली 1,10,620 के है, जिसमें से पेमेंट जो कर दिया 70,000 पेमेंट कर दी, अमाउंट पेड 70,000, तो माइनस कर दो 1,10,620 माइनस 70,000, you will get 40,620. Still we have to pay. This is unsecured, no security. So add up these two amounts, total 2,64,200. This is the total amount due to unsecured creditor, 2,64,200. But how much is the net amount available here? 2,41,332. Amount available 2,41,332. Amount payable to unsecured creditor 2,64,200. The company cannot pay the amount. Cannot be able to pay the amount because the company is insolvent. Company is insolvent. So how to calculate liquidator's remuneration? Amount available into rate by 100 plus rate. Amount available how much? 2,41,332. 2,41,332 into 2 by 102. You will get 4,732. Now we got the complete liquidator's remuneration. 4,732. Take this 4,732 here. After completing second note only, you will get this amount paid on unsecured creditor. 4,712. Once you get 4,712, now add up these three amount, you will get 15,000 total liquidator's remuneration. 15,000. Take this 15,000 here. Now subtract 3,02,000 minus 15,000 minus 2,000 minus 48,400. The remaining amount 2,36,600. This is the amount paid to unsecured creditor. Balancing figure. Remaining amount is a loss. Actually, totally we have to pay 2,64,200. The total amount due to unsecured creditor is 2,64,200. But the company is insolvent. The company is not in a position to pay fully to unsecured creditor. So only 2,36,600 will be paid. The remaining amount is a loss to the unsecured creditor. That's it. Now, see the next problem. 16th problem. X company limited went into voluntary liquidation with the following liabilities. Trade creditors, bank overdraft. These are unsecured creditors. Then capital, 1 lakh preference shares of 10 each, 7 called up, 7 lakh. 1 lakh equity share of rupees 10 each, 9 rupees called up, 9 lakh. Less calls in arrear 20,000. Total 8 lakh 80,000. So there is calls in arrear 20,000. So we can make the assumption that this calls in arrear will be received by the liquidator. So receipt side, calls in arrear. Calls in advance received on preference share 2,40,000, equity share 40,000, total 2,80,000. There are calls in advance received on preference shares and equity share. So what the provisions of Companies Act says? The Companies Act says if calls in received, if calls in advance received, it should be paid. Preference calls in advance should be paid before any amount paid to equity shareholders. So first we should repay preference share capital. After paying preference share capital, if any amount is left, then we'll repay back the preference calls in advance. After that, still if some amount remains, then equity calls in advance will be paid. After repaying equity calls in advance, if still some amount remains, that will go to equity share capital. Equity share holders. Now see, liquidator's final statement of account, assets realized 20 lakh. Last line we have not seen here. The assets realized 20 lakh rupees. Prepare liquidator's account allowing 40,000 rupees as expenses of liquidation and remuneration. There is no need to calculate liquidator's remuneration. Liquidator's remuneration and liquidation expenses combined is given in the problem 40,000. Now, assets realized 20 lakh, calls in arrear, unpaid calls received. Unpaid calls received means calls in arrear. So calls in arrear received is 20,000. The total of the receipts are 20 lakh 20,000. Now we have to make the payment. Liquidator's remuneration and expenses 40,000 directly given in the problem. No need to calculate. There are no debenture holders, no preferential creditors. No debenture holders, no preferential creditors. Directly we'll make the payment for unsecured creditor. So unsecured creditor are trade creditor 1,20,000, bank overdraft 2 lakh. We have paid to all outside parties. The company is completely solvent company. the company can be able to make full payment to unsecured creditor. तो अब जो पैसा बचा हुआ है किसको जाएगा? शेयर होल्डर्स को जाएगा. तो in this problem the excess amount remaining will first go to preference shareholders. So preference share capital is 7 lakh rupees. First the company will repay back the preference share capital. After repaying preference share capital, if any still amount is left, that will go to calls in advance on preference shares. Calls in advance on preference shares. So calls in advance on preference share 2,40,000 ये भी pay कर दिए. Still the amount is left. That amount will be used to repay calls in advance on equity shares. Calls in advance on equity shares 40,000 rupees repaid. Still amount is left. That amount will be repaid as equity shareholders, equity share capital. The still remaining amount will go to equity shareholders. So by equity shareholders, balancing figure 6,80,000. So totally how many equity shares are there? In the problem it is given 1 lakh equity shares. So on 1 lakh equity shares, amount repaid is 6,80,000. So per share how much? 6,80,000 divided by 1 lakh. You will get 6 rupee 80 paisa. So each equity shareholder, on one equity share, the company will repay 6.80. 6 rupees 80 paisa per share will be repaid by the company to equity shareholders. This is the problem number 16.